emotional day yet again for the India women's cricket team, because breaking news in the third T20I that has just concluded at the Adelaide Oval, the India women's team have managed to beat Australia by 17 runs, and in the process they have won the series 2-1. Why it is such a monumental moment in the history of India women's cricket? Because for the first time after 10 years, India have managed to beat Australia in a bilateral series in Australia. Now, in 2016 as well, under Julan Goswami, India had managed to win the T20I series 2-1 even then. Here, when they won the first game, it was truly a remarkable moment indeed. But in the second game, they kind of squandered the advantage, and because of that, India just did not win it, and you came into the decider here in Adelaide. But what a decider it was, because led by Smriti Mandhana's magnificent 82 of 55, yet another 82, yet another glory in Australia. You can connect the dots therein. So 82 of 55 combined with Jemima Rodriguez 59 of 46 ensured that India had made 176 for 6. It looked good that they were going at 180, 190 at one point in time, but then it was then the Australian bowlers fought back. And then the bowling performance, when you look at it, Australia never recovered after they were 4 down. In a chase of 177, if you're 4 down for not so much, you will struggle under pressure. Yes, Ash Gardner got going with a brilliant 57 of 45, and she was given good support by Georgia Wareham and Annabel Sutherland. But at the end of the day, it was Shreyanka Patil, 3 for 22 and 3 for 32 by Sri Charani, 2 for 35 by Arundhati Reddy and Renuka Singh Thakur's 1 wicket that ensured India would achieve a 17-run win in Adelaide. Now there are 2 further goals for this Indian cricket team, the women's team. When you look at this series is very, very important as far as the T20 World Cup preparation is concerned, because the T20 World Cup for the women's team will happen in June in England. And if you beat Australia in the T20 format at home, it is a massive, massive achievement indeed. So both the India women's team and the India men's team have now won bilateral series T20Is twice. 2016 was one, and now in 2026, 2025, the India men's team had won 2-1 anyways. Now, the other goal that India will be having is to win a bilateral ODI series. Now, in the 42-year history of India women's team playing Australia, they have never won an ODI bilateral series. They came very close prior to the World Cup when Mandhana was leading the charge in Delhi, but then they just fell short. And that is why here, after the end of the 3 T20Is, you're now looking at the 3 ODIs and the one-off test in which India would be hoping to create some form of history. So yes, at this point in time, if you look at it, was once again a combined effort that helped you win. Shreyanka Patil, yet again, after a rather up and down WPL, where she took wickets in phases, but then she also leaked a lot of runs. Here, she was at her absolute best. And looking at it the way, I think the ball that ensured that the series was going to go to India's way, look at the way how she cleaned up Elise Perry. She came down the track, Shreyanka Patil had drifted the delivery and it was a flighted ball. Perry tried to go down the ground, but it spun back and the stumps were clattered. And that is why this is a huge, huge success for the India women's team at this stage. And you would often wonder, it could have very well been a 3-0 zip scoreline had the India women's team just held their nerve and won the second match as well. So yeah, it is a tremendous achievement heading into 2026 June, because there you'll have to ensure you break the jinx even in the T20 World Cup. ODI jinx is broken with the ODI World Cup win. Now they'll be hoping to join England, New Zealand, Australia as the other teams to have won the T20 World Cup and the ODI World Cup as well. So big, big achievement that the Indian women's team have achieved at this point. And I'll take some comments that is there. Rookie Techie saying, hope they win the ODI series too, and which would make them not to lose whole series. Indeed, as I said, in 42 years of playing, 1984 onwards till now, India has never won a bilateral series against Australia. Neither in India, neither in Australia. This is the right time to ensure that they break that jinx at this stage. Then it's the same questions as there. Manoj Abhay Abhyankar is saying, getting the basics right and staying in the game was important in this team. When your team is starting star-studded from top to bottom like Australia, this gets overlooked. This was a problem for Australia. Indeed, now even the women's team are undergoing a transition, because remember, this was the first series for Sophie Molyneux as the new captain. And that's why Molyneux's had a tough baptism by fire, and one hopes that she doesn't lose the ODI series as well. Because if that happens, then I think even the Australia women's team, the mighty Australia women's team, might be heading into a big transition phase at this period. And congratulations to the India women's team. Annie is saying we can see some confidence in the camp. Great to see that, of course. I mean, look at Mandana, 82 of the finest runs that was there. And yes, there was one moment in which she pulled out rather late, but then the Australia women's team didn't raise a big issue over it. So, yeah, 82 of 55. When did an 82 give you glory in Australia? A certain VK18? Then an SM18 manages to do it at this point in time. So that's a great way to look at it. Rookie Tech is saying Mazumdar made the difference. They have the talent but not belief. Now they have plenty of belief, my friend. Rahul, not Dravid, is saying Tilak's a little too side on, hindering him to play big shots of middle, way too off balls. Look, Rahul, this is the India women's team live that I'm doing. I will not take comments and questions on the men's team. The men's team, there'll be lives that'll be done every day. But this is the moment where you have to appreciate the women's team and not on all these other bits. Oz women's team, Dhanush is saying Oz women's team dominance ended. India women's will win the T20 World Cup and Smriti will be the highest run scorer. Well, what a change from Dhanush, from openly criticizing that boss Smriti cannot perform in clutch situations to now doing this. And MD Souza saying Molyneux's not captaining the ODI, said Healy will for the last time. But that is what MD Souza, after Molyneux, I mean, after Healy, who's next? Maybe Molyneux will be our all-format captain. Or maybe they would want Ash Gardner in there. So that is the thing we are looking at. India women's, nobody cares. T20 matches are flukes, Sunny Singh is saying. Well, so be it. But then now India women's team have managed to win. Now the next major test for them, I mean, if you look at the schedule that is there, this is the schedule that India will now have to look out for, because the T20Is are done. Feb 24th, the first ODI at the Gaba. Second ODI at the Belrive Oval on February 27th, and then March 1 is the final ODI at Belrive Oval again. And then you will end the tour with a four-day match against Australia at the Waka in Perth. So it is a 4-day match as far as I'm concerned, Gadgets meaning. I think for the women's game, only the Ashes is a 5-day match. The rest of the women's tests are 4-day matches. I have to just confirm on that. So yes, March 6th, it's so far showing March 6th, but I think it is a 4-day game. Unless the changes have happened and even the India game is now a 5-day game. So March 6th to March 9th or 10th, that will be the thing we are looking at this point in time. So AV Irony is saying Indian women are World Cup champion 2020, winning mentality, ticks in belief. So much work to do before T20 World Cup in England. But remember, they even won in England. The series prior to that, they beat England in both the ODIs and the T20Is. So this is a huge, huge achievement that they've got, beating Australia in 2026, and knowing it is T20 World Cup year. So that is why this is going to be very interesting. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this update. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.